You know, one of the cool things about this industry is all the innovative new ideas that seem to keep coming up. There's new climbing devices, there's new holding devices, there's new rappelling and lowering devices, all kinds of cool stuff. But I came up with something that's fairly simple to make, but has worked out to be a tremendous asset to me in the bucket truck. You know, I use the bucket truck a lot. I'm up in the air almost every day for at least a few hours, sometimes all day long. And when you're working with a chainsaw or multiple chainsaws, sometimes big chainsaws, managing those saws in a bucket is a pain in the butt. You know, they've got these little scabbards that kind of hook on the side of the bucket, but it's kind of an awkward pickup. So I came up with something that's pretty basic, pretty simple, and you could probably adapt it to your buckets. But let me show you what I have done and why it works for me. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to work for you, but hey, everybody's different. You know, I've owned a lot of bucket scabbards in the past, ones that clip on the side and you can put your chainsaw into it. But I decided to make my own, and this one has got two slots, one for putting it up from the ground and another for working in the truck. Now, my old one was made out of redwood, which was a mistake. It lasted for a few years, but this new one, it's made out of black oak from a tree that I cut down on my property. This hook is really valuable for putting your rope on there, as well as a place to hold your large chainsaw, take the weight off of your belt. This is the side slot, and that's how I load the chainsaw up from the ground. I put a slot in there for a scrunch. You always need something up there if the chain comes off or it comes loose. And I've got my golf ball control handles. I've had this bucket a long time. I bought it in 1997. This is actually the third truck that I've had it on. Now, being able to get your weight off your belt and put it on this little hook on the big saws is really important. And this is a slot that goes all the way in. This one goes all the way through. And I find both of these slots to be just invaluable for working in the tree. We're at a job site and we've got an oak tree that has failed. And it landed in these bay trees. Still pretty heavy. The bay trees are supporting it. It's going to be a sketchy job figuring out how to safely get that out of there. But we got another oak tree down here. Actually, the trunk is about the same diameter as this one. So this coast live oak was hanging precariously heavy over the house. And yesterday I took a lot of weight off of it on both sides, and that back one over there as well. I also took a lot of weight off of the backside and down here in some of the low limbs. So I reduced the leverage on it, but I want to show you something at the base here. This is a coast live oak, Quercus agrifolia, and my first observation is all the cracking in the bark. And I started looking closely at it, and this is what I want to point out to you. This is a fungal organism called hypoxylon that is an indicator of excessive decay. And we got a lot of it. If you look for them, they're all over the place. I typically only see these on live oaks, but I'm sure that they go for other types of trees. I have seen them on tan oaks as well. But the bark is peeling off, and I'm sure that this tree's got a lot of problems going on. It's got a lot of sawdust down here, probably from the lacewing borers. Some weakness down over here. The side over here has probably got the only life in it, but it's got a pretty significant lean and a bad target. So I condemned this tree. I said this thing's got to go, because once you start seeing the evidence of the fungal organisms that only show themselves when there's an excessive amount of decay, you know, this tree's gonna go. It's gonna break. And we've got an oak tree that has failed.